I am 25 and I have no friends.
I've never had a friend that I would just spend time with and tell everything to.
I don't know what it is with me. I truly don't. I must be completely blind to myself, but I have no idea why people don't want to be friends with me.
I really thought I got close with Caitlin and Molly and Katrina and Aaron. And it's been 2 years. I haven't made a single friend.
I'm not having panic attacks, but I'm just crying because I don't know why I'm crying, but I'm crying.
So you're saying loneliness is comparable to smoking in terms of the detriment to your health?
How lonely are you? Do you have a friend? Do you have anyone in your life? Are you longing for human interaction? I often wonder how future generations will look at us Zoomers. I think the general idea is that we will be tied very much with technology, the internet, because since we grew up with it. But for me, it's more personal and far more depressing because the biggest thing that I will remember my generation for is loneliness. We will be the lonely generation. Because as much as the internet has united us, I could hop on CSGO right now and get insulted by some middle-aged Russian because I asked how to zoom with the AK as if it were the Vandal. My ancestors couldn't do that. Overall, the internet has mostly isolated us. People are lonely. It seems like it's all going to shit. Especially if you're chronically online, the world feels so doomed. Sometimes, all you really want is someone you can talk to in these hard times. But that's the thing. Friendships, community, one of the pillars for a healthy life and happy life in the modern age, almost feel non-existent. All of this is very disheartening. People are desperate for human interaction and contact. All this seems to be lost. If you feel like this, or if you're tired of people speaking of the world this way like I am, I want you to get up from your PC or phone and look outside. And no, I'm not doing the go touch grass meme people say that will magically cure all my problems. Oh wow, I'm no longer insecure. No, but legitimately, look at the sky and look at the trees. Is it really over? Is it really over? Last Thursday, I was going to work and I saw a family of 3 raccoons. It was my first time seeing raccoons. They looked very, very cute. And now tell me, is a world where such funny little creatures who live among us really be that doomed? I'm not saying there aren't problems and the world is perfect, but is it not worth having some hope? I have wanted to make this video for a long time because it's a subject I hold very near and close to my heart. In primary school and high school, I actually had a lot of friends, but as high school ended, I lost practically contact with all of my friends. I didn't get accepted to my college at the time, so I decided to take a year off and figure things out. That 1 year turned into a number of years I am ashamed to say. Needless to say, I became a much different person for the worst. An obese, depressed, unkept, negative, antisocial, ugly person. I don't even remember installing League of Legends. I know, I don't even remember those years anymore. Sorry. However, I managed to not go down rabbit holes and turn things around. One of the reasons I never really went full unhinged is because I had my family that cared for me and my friends. Because 2 years after high school ended, I decided to reconnect with one of my best buddies. And then it dominoed into today, where I've practically regained contact with all of my past friends. I often wonder how my life would have been if I didn't have them or my family.
This is why I want to help the lonely. No one chooses to be like this. I gave you my Skyrim ass lore for an important reason. I don't want your pity. I opened up so if you're in a similar situation, hopefully you will find some peace of mind knowing these feelings are not something only you feel. This video is meant for anyone in my generation, because at the end of the day, no matter the sex, race, or gender, we all suffer from the same pain. But there's hope. Upon reflection and research on the subject, I came up with a couple of reasons as to why Zoomers are so lonely, but more importantly, a couple of solutions. But before we start, I want to make something very clear. We are all gonna make it.
It's me, Mario!
Are you lonely?
Yeah. How come?
How much do you blame yourself for the situation you're in? I would assume a lot. That's how I felt, but there is more to it. You have some share of the blame, sure. Do take responsibility for your actions, but we need to be more careful and look at things straight on. I don't know if you have noticed this, but there's definitely something in the water. For example, a Cigna survey published in 2018 on loneliness reveals that Generation Z, adults ages 18 to 22, is the loneliest generation. By the way, the least lonely one was the greatest generation. Nearly half of Americans report sometimes or always feeling alone, 46%, or left out, 47%. There's a friendship recession going around in the West. Ironically, you aren't the only one lonely. So you're not a loser when a huge chunk of people are dealing with the same issue. Then there's things that are simply out of your control. Remember the Modelo infection, which accelerated the loneliness crisis? Are you to blame for that? Now, unless you gave head to that bath, then no.
The better question is, what can you blame yourself for?
This is so we can focus on fixing the real issues, as opposed to wasting time blaming yourself for things that are bigger than you. Let's try to change things we can do today. Now keep in mind, I am just a guy with no qualifications, so do take my points with a shaker of salt. However, I do think my points do hold some water. I did do some research. Also, I won't talk about things like politics or social economy, just so you know they factor in too,
but I'm simply way too dumb to talk about them.
I just hope you're doing really good. I really miss you.
When you were a kid, did your parents teach you social skills? How to start or keep a conversation or maintain relationships? I asked this question to my friends and we all answered no. So as a kid, if your parents didn't teach you these things, and I assume that they didn't, you pretty much winged it and developed them naturally as you grew up. Because you're in school, you are forced to interact with people of your age, and thus you will develop your social skills. Depending on your temperament and other factors, your results will vary. You may end up with some, a lot, or even no friends. I feel like after high school, people are lost. Unless you go to the same university together, which is rare, you pretty much have to start all over again in a new environment. And that's if you go to university. If you don't, then you're just lost and trying to figure things out, and that can be very isolating. You are now an adult. You have responsibilities. Friends are busy with school and just adjusting to this new lifestyle. At one point in time, whether you like it or not, you will be forced to be alone. And that's when friendships start to lose their grip. That's when time becomes a distance and loneliness starts to rot you away. In the late 90s, Japan had a game show called Susunu Denpa Shonen. The contestant would have to live off sweepstakes till his prizes accumulated the value of 1 million yen. The participant was Nasubi. Nasubi was a young comedian who was social, open, and outgoing. After 15 months, he would win the game show, but as a consequence, he became the total opposite of what once was. His speech was low, had problem with social integrations, and struggled holding down conversations. Thankfully today, he has greatly recovered. Now if you want to learn more about this subject, because it is pretty interesting, go watch the video a trusty guy did on him. Go to YouTuber. Nasubi perfectly illustrates the deteriorating effects that loneliness has on the mind. I believe there are Nasubis everywhere today, staying caged in their rooms. Now speaking for myself, my social skills used to be pretty nasty. Then over the years they have deteriorated a lot. They have gotten somewhat better. For example, might sound super pathetic, but when my friend told me that he did the same thing, I don't feel so pathetic. When I go out to eat with my friends, I order my food instead of having them order it for me. So I'm at least somewhat normal now. And that's the great thing, because social skills are just that. They're skills. Remember that these are not inherent features to humans. You are not born with the ability to kickflip. You didn't grind rail out of the womb. So you can learn no matter your level. So now, how do you develop your social skills? This is a hard pill to swallow, but you're gonna have to put yourself out there. It's as simple as you will need to put yourself in uncomfortable situations because you're gonna be talking to people. If you're not ready yet to go out and meet people, remember you will have to. But if you want to be more prepared, I guess, there are online outlets you can try. You can try social skill courses. You can go on Discord, join a server, and try to start a conversation. Now, you can treat them like a practice mode because if you make a mistake or it's awkward, you can just dip. The one I would recommend is the Healthy Gamer GG server because you know the people there are in a similar situation as yours and they are quite understanding. Baby steps is going out and making small talk with the cashier, greetings and saying farewell to the bus driver, making eye contact with people. If you're at school, you can make small talk with your teachers or random students for the meme. Doesn't need to be crazy filled convos, just chit chat. I know the cashier at my convenience store. Sometimes we talk, and funnily enough, with one of them, I got to speak about this very subject, why my generation seems to be so lonely. Now, he was very based because he thought the cause of the problem was fractured families. How after people turn 18, they're socially conditioned and sometimes by their parents too, to move out, which atomizes individuals. That's very base and very true. Keep in mind, sometimes the interaction will not be reciprocated, which might discourage you from engaging with people. But let me put things this way. When I say hello and thank you to the bus driver, and he ignores me or he's just rude, which sadly happens a lot, who is to blame? Am I the asshole? Well, no. I'm also not gonna stop saying hello and thank you to the other bus drivers just because of him. And maybe he is a nice person too, and he was just having an off day. You need to keep on trucking. Now, the ultimate way to build up social skills, I believe, is to have a job where you're forced to interact with people. My friend was in a pickle, and long story short, for a year he stayed in his room. He was exhibiting the same problems I had in Nasubi's. He then took a job as a cashier in a tourist shop. Bada bim bada boom, like he's normal now. He went from being a sad, depressed, antisocial boy to making small talk for 1 hour with a coworker after work hours. When working at a job like this, you're farming social skill points. You really need to get across that this is a skill. Treat it like you would learning the piano. When you play a piece on the piano and you miss a note, you don't quit forever. And before you even properly learn a song, you will fail a ton of times. But soon enough, you will be able to play it like blindfolded even. If all of this is a little too overwhelming, remember, do what you can do today. Rome wasn't built in a day. You know the whole journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step meme? All those ring true, because the future really doesn't exist, so be in the present.
You look lonely. I can fix that.
Alright, let's get the 800-pound gorilla out of the room. The internet. Overall, I think we can all agree the internet is good. However, its impact and consequences on my generation cannot be understated. I got to live the early years of my life without internet because my parents didn't get the internet till primary school and high school, between those 2 years. And let me tell you, life was different. Because as a kid, I got to hang out with my friends. I always was outside, either at the park, exploring the neighborhood, or even at my friend's house. The sun felt warmer, the water felt fresher. Life was simple and life was better. Objectivity. I don't like the idea of making the internet the scapegoat and blaming it all for all the problems we have today. How things were better in the past when those memories are seen through rose-tinted windows. Because I also had my GameCube that I played religiously. I was addicted to Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. Also, the world was different because you were a child. If you see the world as burning and rotting today, well, what you might not consider it or realize even is that maybe it always was. At the time, you were playing with Bionicles, so obviously it was better. You had no responsibilities, rarely any pain, all the time in the world. Making the internet the monster to blame is quite ridiculous. The internet is not sentient, it is neither evil or good. The internet is a reflection of us. The side effects, however, is another story. Brain rot. At the end of primary school is when I got a phone and unsupervised internet access. I would never be the same. I saw things I shouldn't have seen. I saw suicide videos, cartel videos, degenerate shit, the jar, memes, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube all have ruined my attention span. And to be fair, all things considered, I turned out pretty good. Now, these things do suck, but what I want to focus on is the effects that the internet has had on daily life. Let's take a look at two simple examples that threw a monkey wrench in society. Online shopping. And I know I'm guilty of this. While it is super convenient, it does eliminate human interaction and contributes to isolation. No longer do I have to shower, walk outside, see people in the streets, enter the store, make eye contact, and talk to the cashier to buy the last copy of Kid Icarus Uprising, then go to the supermarket and buy groceries. Instead, I'll go on Amazon and pre-order Mario Wonders. I could get a digital copy, but physical is way better, and get my groceries delivered. Now, you may be saying I'm making a mountain out of a molehill, but I really don't believe I am. Going outside gets you accustomed to being around people, which may sound weird, but if you aren't used to that, you're gonna feel some type of way in a social situation, whether it's nervousness or you may be on edge, and all of this might contribute to antisocialness. And then there's online interactions. I did previously speak about them in a positive light in the previous chapter, but you do need to realize that online social interactions are very different from real life. They're quite abstract because you're not reading facial or body cues or expressions, which is an integral part of communication. You're not really seeing them, you're seeing words on a screen, and even if you do hop on voice chat and speak to them, you're still lacking the physical aspect. There will always be something missing. Unless you meet them in real life, I don't think they can never truly equal a real life interaction, and I fear people will substitute their real life interactions with online ones. So what's the solution to this? Well, your mother was right. It really is that damn phone. You cannot live your life on the internet, and even if you could live it in, like, with virtual reality, I don't think you should. I did previously speak about how the go touch grass meme is very reductionist and very shallow advice that doesn't really equate to anything in the way that they mean. Like, okay, I'm outside. Well, now what? Because when people say this, they don't use it for actual advice. They use it to make fun of people who are chronically online, which is fair, but again, I am outside. Now what? But behind the dismissive nature of it all, there is a speck of truth in it, and I'm actually going to tell you what to do. So the common answer is to tell you to go to a social gathering or social activities like a bar, a sports club, or anything relating to those. Try to make friends there, or at the very least train your social skills, which is fair, and if you are willing to, go right ahead. But let's be honest, if you're watching this video, you either did try it and it didn't work yet, or you're not comfortable. Also, I'm not going to give you advice that I myself don't use. I have very little interest in going to bars and shit like that. So this is why I hate the Go Touch Grass meme. They make it seem as if it's really that simple and easy, but they fail to realize that if it really was that simple and easy, then everybody would do it. No one chooses the hard path when a much easier one is available that leads to the same place. So now that you're outside, well, now what? Alright, you enjoy the beauty of nature. No meme, fully serious. Remember, you're still an animal, a very sophisticated one, but an animal nonetheless. I'm no scientist. I am generalizing. I can't get a straight answer since we can't ask them directly, and it is species specific, I'm sure, but to illustrate my point, there has been numerous reports saying how animals in captivity, like in zoos, are sadder, or at the very least exhibit negative behaviors that those in the wild don't. Animals need to be free in the outside world, and that includes you. Take a walk, go for a hike, be outside in nature. It is beautiful out there. I hate sounding like a hippie, so here are some facts. You get better breathing, improved sleep, reduced depression symptoms, more motivation to exercise, mental restoration, boosted immune function, protection from short-sightedness, and it improves emotional well-being. Dude, this shit is so fucking OP. Appreciate where you live in. You'll be happier. A happier, more mentally fit, more prepared person is surely something you want. And I'm not trying to overhype this shit, like going outside is this magical cure, like I went outside, I stepped on some dog poop, my depression is cured. Nothing in life is like that. I'm just saying, you gain all these benefits and more, and all you have to do is be in touch with nature. You don't even have to go full monk mode. I listen to music when I go into nature.
I go to my local mountain, put on some Donkey Kong Country or Chrono Trigger to fit the vibe, and that shit goes hard. You'd be a fool to not at least give it a shot. Just be sure to wear sunscreen. Now let me cook. The weird thing is, even though I have a family who loves me and a ton of friends who do care for me, bear in mind it's not always, but still, I do feel lonely. This is something we don't really hear talked about too openly because of the stigma attached to it. You're being ungrateful, you're so unappreciative, but it's just how I feel, and I can't explain it. It's just a feeling. I don't think you can ever get rid of this feeling too. Just like how you can't stop from being sad. It's forever with you. It will evolve and take many forms. But it's not bad to feel this way, just like how it's not bad to feel angry when you're angry. But where does this feeling even come from? The root of the problem isn't the lack of relationships anymore, so what could it be? I don't know. For each person, it will be different. It could be unresolved traumas, insecurity, hiding your true self, feeling misunderstood. You may have relationships, but you want something more meaningful. And you could be just depressed. For me, I have found that it's insecurity that's keeping me away from truly living in the world. But how did I find that out? Introspection. So this is where one needs to be introspective and understand oneself. I found this very interesting article called The Right Way to Be Introspective. Yes, there is a wrong way on ideas.ted. It's a good introduction to introspection and a step in the right track. I highly recommend reading it. Here's some things you can try to be more introspective according to verywellmind.com, because I know you're too lazy to read it, but you should. Number 1, instead of asking yourself why, ask what. Research indicates that what questions are more effective for improving introspection. Number 2, be more mindful. Introspection is a thoughtful exploration of what you're thinking and feeling at the moment. This requires being present or more mindful. Journaling and meditating go hard. Number 3, expand your curiosity. Curiosity about your inner self can help you better understand your emotions, reflect on your past, and explore your identity and purpose. Number 4, spend some time alone, doing nothing. When you're bored, you pretty much have to, think. Now, if you're still not sure or need help or guidance, you could always consider going to a psychiatrist, the doctor of the mind. Despite my efforts, truth is that this problem is far too complex and beyond the scope of one YouTube video. Just as an example, female loneliness has its own set of issues that I didn't even get to explore. I do think the solutions I came up with are pretty gender neutral, so that's nice. So, why is my generation so lonely? I don't know. All I can do is guess. There's too many things that contributes to it that it's silly and quite arrogant to claim to know the answer, as if the answer existed to begin with. I could try and incorporate as many reasons and solutions as I could, but that bloated video would never come out. Most likely, instead of treating this as a group problem, individually seeking help from professionals who actually know what they're talking about is the real answer at the end of the day. It's not like one YouTube video is gonna change anything. I guess I just want it to be heard. And if I am heard, then all I can say is don't give up. You need to try, because life is better with you. So yeah, there's a part 2 of this coming. I might make this series a trilogy. I'm still debating whether or not to make a third video. So the second video will be more focused on like the what is it? It's gonna be centered around the internet and the effects it has on Zoomers. Like I did go a little bit in this video, but I think I go a bit deeper, but the third video I don't know. So yeah, stay tuned. Please like and subscribe. This video took a fucking while, like a month or so. To be fair, I was very lazy and I didn't get any sleep, so I was very sleepy all the whole time. Yeah. So see you next time, buddy.